In the previous lecture, we talked about a normal encoder where we considered that only one input can be possible at a time. But if there are more than one input at a time, we need a better solution. That's where priority encoder comes. In a priority encoder, we set priorities to the inputs. So let's study priority encoder. Like previous lecture, here also we will be discussing about 4:2 encoder, but rather than a normal encoder, we will discuss about priority encoder. So in a normal encoder, we have said that there can be only one input present at a time, but in case of priority encoder, there can be more than one input at a time, and we need to come with a better solution for that. So if we look at the truth table, we see that in this case there is no input present, and in these cases only one input is present. So these were the cases that we studied about in the previous lecture, because that was about the normal encoder where we considered that only one input can be present at a particular time. But as this is priority encoder, there can be more than one inputs at a time, and for that we have to give priorities to the inputs. In this example, we are setting the priorities of the inputs like this: D3 greater than D2 greater than D1 greater than D0. What does that mean? That means that if D3 is present, whatever the other inputs are, we will set the output as a particular pattern. In this example, we have set the pattern as 1 1, but if you want, you can also set the pattern as 1 0 0 1 or 0 0. So let's clean this up and again consider the case. We are saying that if D3 is present, whatever the other inputs are, we will set the output of a particular pattern. So if D3 is present, whatever the other inputs are, we won't care about that. We will set the output of a particular pattern. Okay. If D3 is not present but D2 is present, whatever the other inputs are, that means whatever D1 and D0 are, we will set the output as 1 0 pattern. In this example, we have set it as 1 0 pattern. So in these cases, we can see that there is no D3, and as there is no D3, here we have seen that D2 has the most priority after D3. So here D2 is present, whatever the inputs D1 and D0 are, we will set the output as 1 0. Okay. Again, if D3 and D2 is not present, D3 and D2 are not present, but D1 is present, then we will set the output as 0 1. So here in these cases, D1 is present and D3 and D2 are not present, so we will set the outputs as 0 1. And if no other inputs are present, only D0 is present, we will set the pattern as 0 0, like this case. So now let's talk about the outputs X, Y and V. V stands for the valid bit. If no input is present, then we will set the V as 0, and if any input is present, we will set it as 1. If no input is present, we won't care about the outputs X and Y. That means we will put don't care in X and Y, and in all other cases outputs are already set depending on the priority that we set earlier. So if only D0 is present, we will get the output as 0 0. If D1 is present, D2 and D3 are not present, we will get 0 1. If D2 is present but D3 is not present, then we will get 1 0 pattern. If D3 is present, then we will get the outputs of 1 1 pattern. Okay, these are the outputs. So we need to simplify the equations for x, y and v. Now let's simplify x, y and v using K-map. We want to simplify in soft form, that's why we will deal with the ones in the output. As there are total 4 inputs, we have to put 2 inputs row wise and 2 inputs column wise. As there are 2 inputs row wise, there will be total 4 states which will change along the row, and similarly as there are 2 inputs along the column, the 4 states will change along the column. In K-map, we need to put the states in such a way that the neighbor states differ by each other by only 1 bit. This state has 0 0. Here D1 is 0, D0 is 0. In this state D1 is 0, D0 is 1. So from left to right only 1 bit changed. Only D0 changed from 0 to 1. Again from this state to this state only D1 changed from 0 to 1. Similarly from this state to this state only D0 changed from 1 to 0, and from this state to this state only D1 changed from 1 to 0. So we can think this as a circular shape like this: 0 0 here, 0 1, 1 1, 1 0. Similarly we can say the same things for the inputs states D3 and D2. Now we need to put the zeros and ones from the truth table. We have already done that, and as we are simplifying using SOP, we will be dealing with the ones. Now for K-map we need to form groups, and the groups must have highest possible members, and one element can be member of one or more groups. The group members can be of 2 to the power n numbers, where n is a non-negative integer. It can be 0, 1, 2, which makes the member numbers 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, etc. So the possible member numbers can be 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, etc. And so here we have got 12 members, so we can't form only one group, we need to form 2 groups. The group members must be adjacent to each other, they must be neighbors. In the 2 groups we can see that the 8 members are adjacent to each other. So after forming groups we need to find which bits don't change along the row or along the column. Let's see what do I mean. Now let's consider the blue group, which covers all the 4 columns and these 2 rows. We need to find the inputs which don't change at all along the rows or along the columns. So we have got total 4 inputs: D0, D1, D2 and D3. Along the rows or along the columns we need to find the inputs which don't change at all, and we will write the product of them for the blue group. So let's check. from first state to second state, here we see that d0 has changed from 0 to 1, so we can't write d0 because it has already changed once. Then from second state to third state, we see that d1 changed from 0 to 1, so we can't also write d1. And the blue group covers these two rows, and in these two rows we see that the state changes from 0 1 to 1 1, so we can see that d3 changes from 0 to 1, so we can't write d3. So for the blue group only d2 remains, because if we look at the two rows here, we can see that d2 remained 1 in the two rows, so we will write only d2 for the blue group. Similarly, the red group covers all the 4 columns and these two rows. We have seen earlier that the blue group also covered all the 4 columns, and for blue group we didn't write d0 and d1. You know why. So we also won't write d1 and d0 for this group. And along the rows we see that d3 don't change at all. d3 is always 1 for these two rows, so we will write d3. And as d2 changes from 1 to 0, we won't write d2 for the red group. And after writing the expressions for the groups individually, we need to sum them up in the K-math. So the final equation for x will be x equals to d2 plus d3. Now let's simplify y. We have already put the zeros and ones from the truth table for y. For y, we see that there are two possible groups. I have already marked them. There are 8 adjacent members here, so they are the members of a same group, and the remaining members were these two. But we have said earlier that the groups must contain highest possible members. So if you have 2 members possible or 4 members possible, you always have to make the group containing 4 members. That's why we won't make a group with only these 2 elements. Rather, we will form a group with these 4 elements. So there are 2 possible groups for y, the blue group and the red group. We have already seen the expression for the red group, which was also in x, and the expression for the red group is d3. Now let's talk about the blue group, which covers these 2 columns and these 2 rows. We can see that d1 doesn't change, it remains 1 in the 2 states. So we will take d1 from here, but we can't take d0 because it changes from 1 to 0. So it has already changed once, we won't take d0. Along the rows we can see that in these 2 states d3 changes from 1 to 0, but d2 doesn't change, so we will take d2, we won't take d3. And d2 is not 1 here, d2 is 0 here, so we will take d2 bar or d2 prime. Okay, let's make it clear. Here d1 doesn't change, okay, but d1 is 1, that's why we will take d1. But here d2 doesn't change, but d2 is 0, that's why we will take d2 prime. So finally for the blue group we will write d1 d2 prime, the product of d1 and d2 prime, plus the expression for the red group. So this will be the expression for y. Now let's solve for V. For V, we can see there is only 1 0, which is in this position. So we can form total 4 groups like this, and if you solve, you will find the expressions like D0 for the green group, because if you consider the green group, you can see that it covers all the 4 rows, so we can't write D3 and D2, and for these 2 columns only D1 changes from 0 to 1, so we will take D0 from here. Similarly for D1, we can see it covers all the 4 rows and these 2 columns, so we can't write D3 and D2, and along these 2 columns only D0 changes from 1 to 0, so we will take D1. We have already solved for these 2 groups for for X, so we can write it D2 and we can write it D3, and then at last we can sum them up. So this is the expression, simplified expression for V. Now we can draw the logic diagram using the expressions we have found. For X, we have found X equals to D2 plus D3, so we will take D2 and D3 to a normal 2 input OR gate, and the output will be X. For Y, we need D1, D2 prime, so we will take input to AND gate from D1, and for D2, at first we will put an inverter, and the output of the inverter will be given to the AND gate, and here we will get D1, D2 prime, and then we need an OR gate because there is a plus symbol here, so here we are getting D1, D2 prime, and here we are giving D3 to the input of OR gate, and the output will be Y because D1, D2 prime plus D3. And for V, we have found V equals to D0 plus D1 plus D2 plus D3, so we will give D0 and D1 as input to an OR gate. Again D2 plus D3 means D2 and D3 must be given to the input of an OR gate, and after that we will use another OR gate whose input will be the outputs of the 2 OR gates, and finally here we will get V. So that's all for priority encoder. Thank you.